Okay, welcome back. This is Mr. Hassan's Maths channel, and this is a question from the Pure Mathematics P2 October 2021 International A-Level Edexcel exam. And we're going to start doing this whole paper. I will do the questions one by one, starting with question number 1, and I will save them all separately so that I can save them by topic as well as by paper. The first question here is about binomial expansion. It tells us that the first three terms in ascending powers of x of the binomial expansion of 1 plus kx to the power of 16 are 1 minus 4x and px squared, where k and p are constants. Find in simplest form the value of k and the value of p. That's the first part of the question. So we know that when we expand this, these are the first three terms that we get. And k and p are constants. This p and this k are constants. We've got to find the values of k and p. So when we expand a bracket like this, we're going to use, in P2, most people would use what's called the NCR method. So we have 1 plus kx to the power of 16. Alright, so what we're going to do here is we're going to expand this in the following way. I have my bracket for my NCR. I know that you're going to start with 16 and 0 for the first term. Then you're going to have 1 and you're going to have kx. So you put the terms inside these brackets. Now we want ascending powers of x. That means the first, this bracket here with the x inside it is going to start off with something to the power of 0. And this is going to have to the power of the highest power, which is 16. These two always add up to 16. And we've got three terms here. We've got 1, 2, 3 terms. So I'm going to do this for the first three terms. So for the second term, you're going to have 16 and 1. And this is going to be 1 to the power of 15. And this is going to be kx to the power of 1. It's going to increase. And the third term is going to be, this is going to have kx to the power of 2. And this is 1 to the power of 14. And I'm going to have 16 and 2. So you'll notice that this number here stays the same. The number underneath, okay, can be either the number on this bracket or it can be the number in that bracket. They'll give the same value. Okay, and you're going to have in the first bracket here, the one that we want ascending powers of x, the one with the x in it, I'm going to start with 0, then going up. The other one's going down. In this particular case, we don't even have to write this term because 1 to the power of anything is going to be 1 anyway. But I'm just showing you so that you can see the patterns. All right, so now 16C0 is 1. Okay, whenever you have something and 0 here, it's always going to be 1. And here 16C1 is going to be 16. That's also something you'll see. Anything with a number here and a 1 here will always be the same as that number. And we know that 1 times 1 to the power of anything is 1. And anything to the power of 0 is also 1. So the first term is going to be 1, as we can see from this. All right? And the second term here is going to be 16 times, again, 1 to the power of anything is 1. And kx to the power of 1 is kx. So this is going to become 16kx. 16kx. So the second term is 16kx. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that now. So this is the second term, minus 4x. So I can say 16kx is equal to minus 4x. Okay, 16kx is equal to minus 4x. So that x term is equal to minus 4. So we can say that means the coefficient of x, 16k, must be minus 4. So k is going to be minus 4 over 16, which is minus a quarter. So I know that k is equal to minus a quarter now, right? So if I want to find now the value of p, which is the coefficient of x squared, I can now say, okay, I now know this is minus a quarter. So I can change this to minus a quarter. And that will help me find what I need to find now. Okay, so now I can say this is going to be 16C2. Now for that, I'm going to take the calculator out. I'll use the button, the NCR button, 16 and C2. That gives me 120. So that's 120 times 1 times, and minus a quarter squared is 1 over 16 x squared. So we end up with 120 divided by 16, which gives you 15 over 2 x squared. So we have k equals minus a quarter. That's one of the answers. And the other answer is for p. Okay, so this is for part 1. And for part 2, we can say p is equal to 15 over 2. Okay, because they want the coefficient of that term. Okay, so p is equal to 15 over 2. And there's the answer to question number 1. Okay, so that's the answer to number 1. Now we go on to number 2. Okay, so we now know it's 1 minus a quarter x to the power of 16. Okay, so we know this is 1 minus a quarter x to the power of 16. That's what this expression is. A k is a quarter. All right, so now it says, using the value of k found in part A, find the term in x squared in the expansion of g of x. So we've got to multiply our expansion that we found, or we've got part of it, by 2 plus 16 over x. All right, so let's just write down what we have so far. We have 1 minus a quarter x to the power of 6. We got 1, and then we had, the next term was, it was 16kx. Okay, so we had a minus 4x, sorry, 1 minus 4x. And then we had, the next term was 15 over 2x squared. Yes, 15 over 2x squared. And that was positive. So we have plus 15 over 2x squared. All right, now, what I need to do here is, because I'm going to multiply these terms by 2 and by 16 over x. And I need to have the term in x squared. So when I multiply the 2 by the 15 over 2x squared, I'll get an x squared term. Now, if I multiply the 16 over x by something to get an x squared term, it has to be multiplied by 16 over x. It has to be multiplied by something in x cubed. All right? Then you'll end up with an x squared term. So I need to find what the x cubed term is in this expansion for me to be able to complete this. So the x cubed term is going to be that third term, or that fourth term, you could say. Okay, so it's going to be 16, and this time we're going to go to 16 and 3. And this is going to be 1, and this is going to be minus a quarter x. So I need this to be to the power of 3 now. And this is going to be to the power of 13, and I'll have 16, 3. So I need to find what that term is. So I'm going to have 16 C3, which gives you 560 times, now minus a quarter cubed is minus 1 over 64 x cubed. Okay, so we have 560 divided by 64, and that gives us 35 over 4. 35 over 4 x cubed, and that's going to be negative. Okay, so now my expansion is going to be complete with this minus 35 over 4x cubed. It's going to be up to what I need for me to answer the question. So now I'm going to put 2 plus 16 over x multiplied by my expansion, which is 1 minus 4x plus 15 over 2x squared minus 35 over 4x cubed. So now we can expand this, or actually we don't need to expand the whole thing. We only need the term in x squared. All right, so what we need to do is just think about when we multiply what will give us x squared. So we've got 2. So if you think about the x squared, so we're going to have 2 times 15 over 2x squared. That will be one of the terms. And the other one will be plus 16 over x times this term minus 35 over 4x cubed. Those will cancel to give us x squared. All right, so this is 2 times 15 over 2, which is 15 x squared. And this is going to be this 4 cancels with the 16, giving you with 4. So you're going to have a negative. 4 times minus 35 is minus. That's going to be 70 times 2, 140 x squared. So that gives you negative. That's going to be 125 x squared. That is the x squared term. It's asking for the term in x squared. So therefore we don't give, we don't just give the coefficient. If it said find the coefficient, we'd only write minus 125. But it says the term, we have to write down the x squared with it. And that's how we deal with that question. So you have to extend the expansion by one more, because you know that 16 over the 1 over x times the x cubed will also give us an x squared term. All right, so we have to basically multiply those two together to give us x squared. So that's why we had to extend our expansion up to the x cubed term of this bracket. Okay, so there's the answer to part B of this question. Other questions from this particular paper of the October 2021 P2 can be found in this playlist that should appear in this area. Other questions from binomial expansion from P2, the topic, can be found in the playlist that should appear in this section. You can subscribe to my channel by clicking on the link over there. Thank you for watching, and see you soon.